They win the NFC South.
First victory Monday of the season. How are we feeling, everybody? It's an amazing feeling. It's just one of the best feelings in life is a victory Monday. You just are able to talk trash to everyone that was talking trash to you. Just sit on your high horse and just enjoy the day. And once we start getting, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, time to lock back in. Because at the end of the day, it is just one game. But that's all of the raining of parades I'm doing right now. Because it's still Monday. And we're still having a good time. I'm rocking this 1-4. Because Baker getting a ton of love nationally. Mike Evans getting a ton of love. Deservedly so. 2 touchdowns. But Chris Godwin? What I saw from Chris Godwin. If anyone watched that Sunday night football game, Rams at Detroit, and if you watched Cooper Kupp and how Sean McVay used Cooper Kupp, did that not look similar to how Liam Cohen used Chris Godwin yesterday? Just making things easy for Baker Mayfield and Chris Godwin doing his job and getting things done. That's what this guy does, and he's been doing it for years. 8 targets, 8 catches, touchdown. Chris Godwin. And then also yesterday, on top of that, Chris Godwin becoming the receiver with the second most receiving touchdowns in Bucs history. Being able to see him and Mike for this many years, same time, special. Let's get into this game, though, because Baker Mayfield and this offense comes out scorching to start the season. Well, they have 7 drives, and 6 of those seven drives they scored. That's insane. We did not see one single game like this at this level, I would say, all of last season. There were some good games. The Packers game, there were some good games. But to come out week 1, new offensive coordinator, and put together a performance like this says a lot. Remember that week 1 last season, that first half against the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota? Dreadful. And then just flip that on its head, and you have week 1 at home against the Washington Commanders, 37 points. It is crazy to me. Not super, super shocking based on what we've heard throughout training camp, but still just seeing it, being in the stands, and witnessing it, crazy. It kind of played out somewhat how I talked about in my preview. I told you guys the Commanders have probably bottom 5 secondary group in the entire NFL, and that's what was taken advantage of. I also told you guys that this interior defensive line, it's going to be tough. And the Bucs were not really able to run the ball as well as I know they wish they could. Bucky and Rachaad White combined didn't get 100 yards rushing, so there's that. But as I said, what they needed to attack was the secondary, and that's exactly where they went. Baker Mayfield, almost 300 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. There wasn't even one ball where it's just like, oh, Baker, relax, that was almost an interception. No, it was just... Can you guys tell I'm in good spirits. But this is where one of the massive and most important differences from what Canales did to what Cohen did. Cohen putting players in position to succeed, to just help the offense overall. He knew, and you could tell throughout that first half, it was going to be tough to run on this interior defensive line of the Commanders. So you can't just give up on Rachaad White and Bucky Irving and be like, yeah, today's just, it's not the day to run the ball. We'll see you next week. No, you manufacture touches for your playmakers, and all of these short passes, screens to Rachaad White, the one going up the Bucs sideline with Cody Mock just hauling up there to put some blocks on some secondary players for the Commanders was just, it was beautiful stuff. And 6 receptions, 75 yards. And he actually had, more receiving yards than Mike Evans. So Chris Godwin finished 8 receptions, as I said, 83 yards. Mike Evans, 5 receptions, 61 yards. and then McMillan had that one catch for 32 yards and the touchdown. On the rushing side, Bucky Irving led the way. 9 carries, 62 yards. That's 7 yards a clip if you're doing your math. That's crazy. The Bucky Irving chants and Raymond James were going crazy. They started up twice late in that game. Speaking of the energy at Raymond James, I'd say, obviously, walking into the stadium, going up the steps, I'm not going to lie to you, going up that, tunnel or whatever you want to call it, they were Commanders fans. A lot of them. And they were getting their chants off louder than the Tampa Bay chants. That's what was happening at the time I was going up. Obviously, it was a different story after the game ended and we were coming down. But to start the game, I'd say the crowd was meh. Maybe it just felt meh because my last experience was the Eagles playoff game where it was one of the best crowds that I can remember in Bucs history. But maybe the heat, super humid, really hot. People just didn't have the energy to just go crazy, get on their feet, scream, blah, blah, blah. Later it got into the game, the more shade, the more clouds. After halftime, Ray J was rocking and we were going and the boys were rolling. It's not even like a negative, but the only thing that was just okay, I would say, on the offense was the offensive line. There were multiple times where I felt like Rachaad White would get the handoff from Baker and there's just a 300-pound commander like, oh, hello, just ready to tackle him. That happened. I felt bad for Rachaad. I felt like every time Bucky got the ball, he's just clear hole, burst through it, out of there, and Rachaad White would get the ball. There's a guy right there. Then in pass protection, Baker was only sacked one time. Fantastic number right there. 4 QB hits, not bad. I feel like a lot of that does have to do with Baker Mayfield and his escapability. He was able to get out of a lot of pressures yesterday, whether he was able to get out wide and throw it to whoever or just get a 5-10 yard run, maybe even the 2-yard runs. It's not a sack, but I feel like Baker Mayfield kind of protects or hides that, just that one sack number that shows up on the box score. There was some pass rush coming from the Commanders. Overall, obviously, I love how the offense played their game, and it wasn't like, it was just controlled. They controlled the game offensively. And just the third down conversions, perfect. A lot of that goes to Godwin. I remember one drive where it was like a 3rd and 5. Throw it to Godwin, first down, 3rd and 3. Throw it to Godwin, first down, 3rd and whatever. Throw it to Godwin, first down, 3 times in one drive. And that's kind of that Cooper Kupp thing I was talking about early in this video. 9 for 13. 9 for 13 on 3rd down. That's ridiculous. Yes, being able to convert on 3rd down is important, but just being able to be in position to convert 3rd downs, being in 3rd and manageable positions is even more important. And the Bucs were able to do that all day long. You didn't see 3rd and 13, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. It was a lot of 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5, whatever it may be. That's what you need to do to keep drives going and going and going and score 6 of your 7 drives in the game. I'd say the defense looked solid, even with 3 corners going out. It didn't ever feel like, oh, Jaden Daniels is about to air out on us and take advantage of all these injuries. It never felt like that. Shout out to Christian Izien for playing corner for the first time since high school. Impressive. He posted on social media just saying, I'm a football player. I mean, everything we've seen since he joined us last season proves so. We've seen him at nickel, safety, now at outside corner, even with a huge pass breakup on a 3rd down in this game. Shout out Christian Izien. Not as much to talk about on the defensive side of the ball. I think they played well. They didn't allow Jaden Daniels to beat them. They gave up a decent amount of rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. 1 was garbage time. But no real concerns in terms of how they played. Now, the biggest storyline coming out of this game for the defense is injuries, because my goodness, the Bucs started the game with 4 corners active and they finished with 1, who ironically was Jamel Dean of all people, staying healthy. And don't forget they went into the game with 2 interior defensive linemen, Logan Hall and Kalijah Cansey, out. It's a lot of injuries. So those cornerback injuries, McCollum went out with a concussion, which forced Bryce Hall to come in. And unfortunately, Bryce Hall took the most serious injury, dislocated ankle, and a fractured fibula. He's going to be out for the season. Wishing him the best recovery possible. That sucks. That's real tough. Real tough. You could tell he was... Obviously, I never saw the injury. They never showed the injury on the Jumbotron. Then I asked my parents if they saw it on the TV, and they said that the announcer said that it was too gruesome. They weren't going to show it, so I'm just like, yikes. But they did show him getting carted off on the Jumbotron and kind of zoomed in on his face, and you could tell he was really trying his best to keep it together, and it just, you kind of knew right there. Once again, wishing him the best. So, the biggest injury, or the biggest blow in terms of just prestige of player, we'll call it Antoine Winfield Jr. Looking to be out for a couple weeks with an injury, playing late into that game, 37-14, still out there, and he gets injured late in the game, and here he's going to be missed against Detroit. Maybe not so much against Denver, but against Detroit, yeah, you really look to have Winfield out there on the field at Ford Field. Zion McCollum with the concussion, you never really know. I've seen them come back the same week. You've seen them miss a week with a concussion. It just depends how those symptoms progress throughout the week, if they get better or if they kind of just stick around and they got to miss the game. So that's up in the air with McCollum. So if we're looking at how it's looking right now, let's say McCollum is out. You're looking at Dean outside, Funderburk outside, who was out this game. He'll probably have to start. Jordan Whitehead in the back end. And then at that safety spot, we'll see what they do there. Whether it's Izzian, I mean, it's going to be sort of a question. Tyke Smith, and I say it like that because the only spot I've seen him at is nickel. I haven't seen them play him at safety, so I don't know if the Bucs will be comfortable doing that. It's going to be a big question mark going into next week, but that'll be for a different video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment down below your guys' thoughts on this game. Happy Victory Monday once again. We're wrapping up here. Monday Night Football is about to come on. Watch that while I edit this video. Thank you so much again for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Go Bucs. Y'all have a blessed one.